Colored stripes move diagonally on the screen and a multicolored title appears. It says, 7 Saturdays to a More Fire-Resistant Home. There's a colored drawing of a simple beige house that appears in the background. A title appears on an orange screen. It says, Episode 4, Preparing Your Family for Evacuation. Alicia Mason appears on screen. She's a young woman with shoulder-length tightly curled tawny hair and blue eyes. She wears a light green shirt. A middle-aged man, wearing a blue long-sleeved shirt, cleans out rain gutters that are filled with pine needles. The same man, and Alicia, cut weeds with weed cutters. Then, they are both shown kneeling next to the side of an open garage door. Next, we see them holding and examining a vent screen next to an open vent hole at the bottom of a house's wall. As Alicia talks, 3 numbered bullet points appear below her on the screen. They say, 1. Build an evacuation plan. 2. Assemble emergency kits. 3. Sign up for alerts. In a brightly lit kitchen, Alicia stands next to the man in the previous images. He is David Hawkes, a senior public safety specialist at PG&E. He stands to her left. David is a middle-aged man with gray, close-cropped hair, wearing a gray button-down shirt. On his shirt is a white PG&E logo. In front of them, on a large counter, are a lot of assorted items including clothes, a thermos, a flashlight, a hard drive and a bowl with dog biscuits.
Hi there. Welcome back to 7 Saturdays to a Fire-Resistant Home. I'm your host, Alicia Mason. Each week, we've been talking about how to prepare your home and family before wildfire season. In previous episodes, we've gone over creating defensible space and hardening your home to make your property more fire resilient. Today, we're talking about making an emergency plan. First, we'll show you how to build an evacuation plan to leave your community should a wildfire strike. Next, we'll assemble emergency kits to grab at a moment's notice. And finally, we'll show you how to sign up for alerts to help you get the information you need in an emergency. To help us out today, I'm happy to welcome back our expert, former CAL FIRE Butte Unit Chief and Senior Public Safety Specialist at PG&E, David Hawkes.
Thanks for having me back, Alicia.
Throughout the video, David and Alicia talk from this kitchen location. An orange screen appears with the title, Step 1, Build an Evacuation Plan. Under the title, inside a circle, there's a map. Alicia and David talk in the kitchen. As David talks, a bullet point appears in an orange text box at the bottom of the screen. It says, plan an escape route out of your home, as well as out of your community.
Now, David, I'll be totally honest with you. The idea of creating an escape plan makes me a little nervous. It's intimidating to think about evacuating with my family.
That's totally understandable, Alicia, but going over these steps will take some of the uncertainty out of the equation.
Great. So what's the first step?
You should start by making sure that you have an escape route to get out of your house, as well as get out of your community, as quickly and safely as possible.
We're familiar with our home exits, but what do we need to know about evacuating our community?
Making a detailed plan can make all the difference in an emergency.
There are images of a grass fire burning up a hill. Next, we see gridlock on the freeway, with hundreds of cars at a standstill next to a hill with billowing gray smoke. As David talks, we see images of a family of 6. The father holds a PG&E checklist on a clipboard, as the family has a discussion. The family takes a dog on a walk, and they continue talking. A map appears that's labeled, 2 evacuation routes. 2 paths away from a location are shown. As David talks, an orange box with the following list appears. Churches, schools, parking lots, other fire-resistant structures.
Wildfires can spread very quickly, and it's possible that you'll have little to no warning of an evacuation. That's why it's so important to map out a plan to exit your neighborhood as well as your community. Some communities have designated evacuation plans to help guide you. Check with local public safety officials. It's a good idea to practice evacuating every few months during both day and night.
Okay, well, I know my roads in my community, but what are the steps to making sure my evacuation routes are mapped out correctly?
I'm glad you asked. Ideally, you should have 2 evacuation routes out of your neighborhood as well as out of your community, in case one is cut off by fire. And check to see if your community has any designated public assembly points.
What are some examples of common public assembly points?
Churches, schools, other spots that are large enough to give people shelter during a wildfire. These are often barriers like large parking lots which resist fires.
So now we know why it's so important to create a plan in advance.
Yes, practice makes perfect. This is especially important for children and pets.
An orange screen appears with the title, Step 2, Assemble Emergency Kits. Under the title, Inside a Circle, there's a drawing that shows an emergency kit and some of its contents. The family we saw previously is gathered around a table, preparing an emergency kit. The teenage daughter holds a large plastic bin with clothes inside it. The mother and son go over a checklist while the mother examines a first aid kit. Family members put items in a clear bin. On the bin, there's a handwritten tag that says, Emergency Supplies. There are 2 clear bins stacked on a counter. The top one is labeled Emergency Kit. This bin has a first aid kit and clothes in it. The bottom bin is labeled Food Supplies. It contains tins of nuts and boxes of diced peaches and protein bars. Next to the bins are 3 large 5-gallon bottles of water and a box with multiple tins of tuna. An orange text box appears on the left side of the screen with the following list: water, non-perishable food, flashlights with batteries, clothing, critical medication, important documents, cash. Another orange box with the following list appears: food, water, medicine, medical records, leash, sanitation wipes, pet toys, photo with pet. The family fills up water bottles, puts batteries in a flashlight and looks through medical and vet records. They also move food and other items to the clear bins. A senior woman in a different house is filling up a clear bin with emergency supplies as well. She has a cat. On a mobile phone we see a photo of her, with her cat. She lifts up a cat carrier. She logs onto the PG&E website where the heading says, Welcome to your Safety Action Center. There's a close shot of a checklist which has the title, Emergency Supply Kit Checklist. A person is going down the checklist with a pen and checking boxes off.
So we just learned about evacuating. When it's time to go, what do I need to make sure we bring with us?
Every family should have an emergency kit or go bag with critical items for every member of your household, including pets.
What are the essential items every emergency kit should have?
Let's start with people. You should pack sufficient supplies for 72 hours. That means water, non-perishable food, flashlights with batteries, clothing, critical medications, important documents, and cash.
What about your furrier family friends, our pets? What do they need?
Pets should have their own go bag with 72 hours worth of food, water, medicine, medical records, leash with sanitation wipes, pet toys, and a picture of you with your pet in the event that you are separated. Keep pet carriers, leashes, and emergency kits close to exits so that you can easily grab them on your way out. You can go to safetyactioncenter.pge.com and download your emergency kit checklist and learn more preparedness tips.
Creating an emergency kit sounds actually pretty easy.
Exactly, Alicia.
An orange screen appears with the title, Step 3, Sign up for alerts. Under the title, Inside a Circle, there's a mobile phone with a notification alert icon on it.
It feels good to have a plan, David. So what's our third and final task for this episode?
The last thing we are learning today is how to sign up for emergency alert and warnings.
Where should folks go to sign up for emergency alerts?
There's a blue screen with the heading, Sign up for alerts. 3 icons are shown. The first is labeled Fire Departments. The second is labeled Police Departments. The third is labeled Cal, EOS. These 3 icons are replaced by 3 mobile phones, with different screens. The first is labeled Phone Calls. The second is labeled Text. The third is labeled Emails.
Most local law enforcement agencies utilize alerts and warning software to alert residents via phone, cell phone, text, and/or email. Check with your local law enforcement agency to learn how to sign up for alerts.
There is a close shot of a person holding a mobile phone that has a PSPS alert on it. As David talks, a bullet point appears in an orange text box at the bottom of the screen. It says, Sign up to receive notifications at pge.com/wildfire alerts.
PG&E also has their own alert system that lets you know if there is a public safety power shutoff in your area. So make sure that you're signed up to receive notifications at pge.com/mywildfirealerts.
Now that I know exactly how to prepare for an evacuation to keep my family safe, I do actually feel a lot better.
I thought you might, Alicia.
There's a quick montage of images showing David and Alicia gardening.
Next week, we're going to talk about how gardening can help make your home more fire resilient.
That actually sounds like a lot of fun. Well, thanks for joining us for 7 Saturdays to a fire-resistant home. We'll see you next week. Be sure to share what you learned today with family, friends, and other people you know living in fire-prone areas. If you want to catch up on our previous episodes, go to safetyactioncenter.pge.com to learn more preparedness tips.
The opening title that says, 7 Saturdays to a More Fire-Resistant Home, appears once again, followed by the PG&E logo. Along the bottom of the screen it says, Learn more at safetyactioncenter.pge.com.